Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falakzeeb Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Ms. Malvieka Joshi. Hello, welcome, Ms. Joshi. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you, Falak.
Thank you so much for being here. So let me give you a quick brief about Ms. Malvieka Joshi. She has an impressive career and expertise aged over 3 decades, spanning diverse industries such as banking, FMCG, telecom, and IT. As a company secretary, her expertise extends to various boards, and she has successfully navigated through 5 mergers and conducted meticulous due diligence. Her extensive experience includes the strategic opening of engineering centers for global capability centers in India. In these roles, she not only spearheaded the establishment of state-of-art infrastructure, but also fostered a culture of innovation, transforming workplaces into environments where employees thrive and build enduring careers. Currently serving as the Vice President of Human Resources at F5 Networks, a US-based MNC, she has been instrumental in elevating the engineering center she oversees. From its inception with a handful of employees to the present stature of over 1,000 professionals, the center has gained recognition among the top 25 companies in Asia and the top 5 in India. Under her leadership, F5 Networks has been acknowledged as a great place to work for millennials and women, showcasing her commitment to a human-first approach and a high-performance culture. So, Ms. Joshi, could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far?
Thank you for having me on this show. My journey actually began on a very humble note. I just started as a secretarial assistant to help a CFO more than 3 decades back. And, I never looked back from there because from the day-to-day operations, I was then sent on a training to ICSI. And then I thought, why not do the course itself? And lo and behold, in 1993, I became a CS. And at that time, there were very few women company secretaries. And I immediately got a job in a bank and started my career. But then, somewhere down the line, when I made my next move, I got to, on day one, get an opportunity to work in HR. And they said, while you're a CS, you can do your HR as well. We will groom you and we will take all the, we'll provide you trainings, necessary support. And that day, I started wearing 2 hats from there on. And that was another journey, which was blending the 2 professions of being the CS on one hand, a secretarial, legal expert, and on the other hand, being a human resource person. And then thereafter, from 2005 and on, I did my course with Cornell University because that was the other HR side of it that I wanted to accomplish and get a good, exposure from a university. And then thereafter, I started wearing both the hats in companies. And 2005 onwards, I actually embarked on the HR journey because that was a journey which I really thought that I could work with people. And that was one of my strengths that I noticed over the years. And then 2014, coaching happened for me, and I became an ICF certified coach a few years later. And that added on to my HR journey. And then almost 3 decades now, 20 decades, 22 decades in the ITA space, I feel a blend of both the legal and HR side has really added on to where I am today and where I would like to take my journey forward as well.
Wow, that's really indeed a very interesting and a very beautiful journey, I must say. So we want to know, like, how do you approach strategic planning in the context of HR and legal functions, particularly when dealing with mergers and due diligence?
Yes, actually, HR and legal, the combination is amazing combination because what happens is you can get the complete 9 yards of an merger or an acquisition or when you have to do a due diligence. Because today's world, when we are acquiring companies, it's about people, the intellectual property that we will get, the culture that we are going to, have from that company, the values that they have, the code of conduct that they have, their compliances, their statute compliances. So when you have to do a due diligence and you need to actually accomplish it, nothing better can happen if you have both the expertise of leading it from a legal and an HR perspective. And that is what has made me successful in almost all the mergers, because whenever the chance of due diligence happened, we had to look at it from both aspects. We had to look at all the legal formalities. We had to look at also the people formalities in terms of the talent that we were going to get, the policies and processes that that company would be following. How have they been meeting their statutory compliances, which are very important because that liability would directly transfer to us. So we definitely needed to know that aspect of it. And on the other hand, when you have to acquire a company, you have to do the due diligence. You also have to look at, what are you taking? Is it a asset transfer? Is it a complete takeover? Are you taking over the liabilities? What continuity of service are you going to give to the individuals? So looking at all these aspects, from both legal and from an HR perspective, I could do justice to it. And me and my team, we could really look at all aspects of it. So from people practices, as I said, to talent, to intellectual property, we just could absolutely accomplish all of it together. We did not have to go to any other team. It was just one team led by me that could do both the aspects. So I think from that perspective, I think this combination has really helped them.
That's really very great and commendable indeed. So, given your emphasis on building a culture of trust and innovation, could you share specific initiatives you have implemented to foster a positive workplace environment?
See, a workplace environment, begins with, taking care of the people. And I think when you take care of people and the people know that this is a great place to work where I can be psychologically safe. I can come here, work, and, there are people to take care of me, my career. It's not a job that I'm coming here for. Every Monday morning when I'm excited to come to work, I think that is what makes a company great.
True.
And when you build with that, intent in mind that people have to be safe here, people have to be loving their jobs, they need to have fun as well. That's when you're trying to build the trust with them, and that takes time. It comes from the top. And that's the top leadership, their thought leadership, their vision, the ways they weigh and commit to the people, the way they communicate to the employees, their plans, their roadmaps. I think all that goes to build the culture of trust. And when the culture of trust comes in, people get an environment where they can innovate because you've built the infrastructure, you've given them the necessary resources and the environment and the ambience to be a free thinker. And that's when innovation starts happening because then they are free from other worries. You take care of them, that kind of a thing. I remember, we provided concierge help desk just so that, even the mundane things of going and getting anything from the market or taking care of some needs of the children or some sundry jobs can be given over so that, you could utilize the time in office for doing something, contributing for the, future of the company, doing something worthwhile and really not have to worry about things. So that's where, you build the environment, you build trust, you give them the ambience, the environment, and then they will flourish. So that has been the approach that I have seen all throughout, and it has worked beautifully. When it came to innovation, the one thing that we thought always, and this has happened in all the companies, is let them be appreciated, for what they are doing rather than the outcome. Because if you say, okay, I have made a patent or I have an IPR, you reward them. That's good. But sometimes innovation also happens when you're working. You come across a process can shorten the time. You can come across a breakthrough in automation. Why not reward in the process rather than just waiting for the outcome? So I think that is when innovation, when they start thinking that they are getting recognized for the good things they are doing, they will automatically, boldly raise their bar and go for higher levels of innovation or do something which is even more worthwhile. So let it start small. It cannot be in one day that you can have all the patents in place, and especially when you build organizations. Like for me, most of my last 2 decades have gone in building an organization from scratch, joining as the first employee in both the organizations and then taking them to be 1,000, 1,500, whatsoever. So in that case, innovation was when the environment was built, when the ambience was there, when the culture was already in place. And then when we introduced a culture of innovation by, hackathons, by forming groups of innovators, making them feel special, rewarding them, recognizing them in town halls, bringing them up in the forefront, telling, and talking about their success stories, that's when, people started observing and thinking that, hey, you know what? If you innovate, you are going to be successful here. So that awareness of, that there is a great future if you innovate, you're recognized, you're rewarded, all added to building the culture of innovation, because, it's a spiral thing. It will go up and up. It's, like the flywheel, which is always wanting to go up.
Yeah.
That's what we kind of did. We also formed communities of practice because, these are tribes where come together and then, they can do their brainstorming, they can talk, they can exchange ideas, they can applaud each other, they can learn from each other, mentorship programs. All of this, really goes into building the culture of an organization, because what a culture of an organization is all the intangibles that make the environment so friendly, so very productive, that you start seeing innovation everywhere. You can feel it. When you walk into the office, you can see people brainstorming on boards, getting into rooms to talk, or even in the hallways, you find a group and they are trying to solve a problem. Or I've even seen in cafeterias. So we got big boards made in cafeteria in my previous company where, people could just come and over coffee discuss, and you never knew an idea was born. So, it can happen anywhere. That means, and then all our tech events, when you recognize people, bring speakers, bring people who are specialists, we call them SMEs, we reward them. That is another beautiful way of getting it built from bottom upwards, supported from the top.
Yeah, that's there. So with great insights into building cultures and people management, you have developed a great understanding of corporate governance. Our viewers would like to know the development across the timeline.
Yeah, I think corporate governance is very important. It's that framework, it's that set of principles, policies, and
Yes.
practices which a company gets direction. It's your North Star. You need to have that, because without it, you could go into any kind of challenges, including bankruptcy, including insolvency. We've seen big organizations falling apart because they did not have the best governance practices. So I think it is, very important because it balances the interests of the company's stakeholders, the shareholders, the management, the customers, because they rely, if there is good corporate governance, the suppliers, the financiers, government, and the community at large. So I think corporate governance is that one framework which gives life to the company, which acts as a beacon for the company to function, and it is essential for sustainable business success and long-term value for the company.
Yes. So our next question is also on the similar lines. As a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
Well, I think, doing the right thing. I think that is the first thing that I would say. Just do it right and do it right all the times when you are, working or when you're being observed or when you're not being observed. You don't need an audience to do the right things. You need to do it even when there is no one watching, or if anyone is watching, then also. I mean, all the times, just do the right thing. I think that is very important for putting the corporate governance in place. However, to promote it, I think there are different imperatives that a company can build on. Definitely, transparency comes in, especially from an HR point of view. If corporate governance and HR has to play a role in building a good corporate governance, I think transparency is very important, because the moment you have your company management sharing all your policies, everything up there, it helps people in terms of understanding. There's nothing hanky-panky. There's nothing which is not written. Everything is there. Every policy is there. There is consistency. There's no favoritism. There's no bias there. So I think that it begins first with the transparency that an HR can do, and accountability, definitely, because you need to clearly set the expectations of the employees, give them feedbacks, because they need to know when they're not doing well. They need to have an individual development plan. They need to be dealt fairly. And if required, also the disciplinary measures should be taken. So I think fairness and equity plays a very important role, and HR can play that role. HR is a conscience keeper in an organization. It is there to see that, there is consistency, people are doing things right. There is, ways and means by which there are checks and balances. And today, with posh rules, HR again plays a very important role. The senior member is the member chairperson of the POSH committee. You have for discrimination, harassment, most of the HR practices talk about having, hotlines, ethics point, where, people can go and complain. So again, good governance means, if there are any challenges that the company is facing, people also have opportunities to speak up. I think that is very important. And also with that comes psychological safety, so that there should not be any retaliation when people talk about some practices, and some investigation has to be done. So actually, with all of this, HR plays a very important role in building a diverse and an inclusive workplace. So that also is very important when you talk about corporate governance. You talk about policies to be adhered to, and of course, our different laws. And as we are now getting into cyber laws and safety and fraudulent practices, we need to be more careful in that space as well. AI is helping us in handling some good corporate governance where it comes to automation, so that there is no human intervention there. And human capital management also is a very important thing in terms of workforce trends, our employee engagement, and development of the talent. Because if the employees are engaged, if the talent sees their development, then I think from an HR perspective, that's also leading towards a good corporate governance. Besides reporting to the board, all the statutory compliances, taking care of what submissions have been made, what have been the deposits that have been made to the agencies, complying with all the laws, and not having any gaps there. I think all of that is also very, very important role that HR plays with its ethical behavior itself and stakeholder management.
Yes. So when we talk about technology, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, and Web 3.0?
I think the future is going to be pretty different. And, I think Gen Zs, and they will see a future where AI is going to play a very, very important role. I think AI will help us in leapfrogging into doing things where, you could automate things in such a way that you don't need any human intervention. While on one hand, it is really good because you don't need human intervention, the accuracy will be amazing with AI applications. But where you still need an HR with a physical face is the connection. I think AI cannot replace the connection. AI cannot replace emotions, and AI cannot also, replace how people respond in different situations. The human mind is so many times with so many different occasions, the response could be totally different. And I don't think so. We have really achieved to that extent that we can replace that completely. Where emotions play such an important role, the connection, the human connection plays an important role, and the response also could change. So imagine you talking to a AI chatbot, and then you're getting your responses, but at some time you are not in a situation where you really need, you need someone who can talk to you, but not like a robo. You need someone who can understand you, and maybe your emotions could be different when you talk to a person than when you talk to a robo. So in those situations, I think AI will have to really work a lot to replace those kind of emotions that are there, and some biases also, which I've heard AI can create. I think that is very important that we need to address. But I think the process has already started. I have seen days when we had registers when we used to use for attendance, and now we have biometric. And even recently, with people coming to office, they could even log in or see their day-to-day attendance on their phones or whatever works, right? So technology has really, really shaped the future and is continuously shaping the future. And I think for HR, there's a lot of scope, especially while hiring talent also. There's a lot of scope where AI can do wonderful things, especially when you have so many applications coming in, fraudulent applications coming in. You are able to kind of look at them. And working for a security company, I can only say that, you need to have the best processes in place so that you can actually avoid those attacks and fraudulent, submissions. But then once you get it right and it works, I think, AI can definitely play a major, major role in the future of HR.
And we hope so too. So as you know, we are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hival Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
Oh, excellent initiatives. I've been a follower on LinkedIn for quite some time, and I've been following each one of them. And I really kudos to all of them, and especially the team to have won the Economic Times Award. And that has been phenomenal, I think. And the work that is being done, especially on the Amrit Kaal initiatives and other initiatives that have been taken, I think the team is doing a phenomenal job in building the future. And that's where, the future, again, as we say, good things start from the top. So if there is a knowledge sharing, a community of corporate giants coming together, I'm sure that will lead to better corporate governance. Better corporate governance will lead to good practices, and the good practices will lead to making companies not only great places to work, but great places to have absolute good due diligence in terms of their practices, sustainability management that, the group has been engaged with. I think World Development Corporation has done a stellar job there as well. So I think we as companies are witnessing a seismic shift in the corporate governance space and sustainability initiatives. And I think your team is doing a phenomenal job there. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
There have been like really very kind words by you, I must say. So it was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Malvika Joshi. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. And all the wonderful different teachings and principles that you've shared and your wonderful career journey so far, I'm sure like everyone watching this, it is going to help them inspire and grow in their careers as well. So thank you so much once again for being with us today on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.